You don't need to stay alert here. Nothing important will happen. This is just a quiet place at the end of the day, somewhere gentle to rest for a while. If your mind is still busy, that's perfectly all right. It can slow down in its own time. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to follow closely. You can listen, or you can let the sound fade softly into the background. Either way is fine. This story isn't going anywhere. It doesn't need your attention. It's simply here to keep you company as the night settles in. If thoughts come and go, you don't need to push them away. Just allow them to drift past, like clouds moving slowly across a quiet sky. You may notice your breathing beginning to soften, without effort, without instruction. And if sleep arrives quickly, you don't need to resist it. The story will continue on its own. There's no ending you need to reach, no moment you need to wait for. Just this calm voice, steady and unhurried, staying with you as the rest of the day gently fades away. With nothing to rush toward, we can wander into a gentle place. There are some places where time moves differently. Not slower exactly, but softer, more gently. The Lighthouse on Marrow Point was one of those places. I became its keeper in the autumn of my 63rd year, after a lifetime spent in the noise and rush of the city. The previous keeper, old Thomas Wardley, had tended the light for 42 years before his retirement. When he showed me around that first day, his hands trembled slightly as he touched the brass railings, the way you might touch the face of someone you've loved for a very long time. "She's a good light," he told me, his voice soft with affection. "Steady, reliable. Keep her lamp clean, keep the mechanism wound, and she'll see you right." The lighthouse stood on a rocky promontory that reached like a finger into the gray-green sea. A narrow path connected it to the mainland, passable at low tide, submerged when the waters rose. The keeper's cottage nestled beside the tower, whitewashed stone, blue-painted shutters, a garden where hardy roses somehow thrived despite the salt wind. It was perfect. My duties were simple, rhythmic. Each morning, I would climb the spiraling iron stairs to extinguish the lamp. Each evening, as the sun began its descent toward the horizon, I would climb again to light it. Between these bookends, the days were mine to fill as I wished. I filled them quietly. There was a particular joy in discovering the small rituals of the place. Morning tea taken on the cottage step, watching the seabirds wheel and cry. Afternoon walks along the beach, collecting smooth stones and fragments of sea glass worn soft by the waves. Evening meals prepared slowly, eaten while watching the sky turn from blue to amber to deep violet. The lighthouse itself became my companion. I learned its sounds, the creak of the stairs under my weight, the tick and whir of the clockwork mechanism that turned the great lens, the low hum of the lamp itself, burning steady and bright. I learned its moods, the way the wind sang differently through its heights depending on the weather, the way rain pattered against the lantern room windows like gentle fingers. The work was meditative. Cleaning the lens required patience and care, polishing each faceted section until it gleamed. Winding the mechanism meant turning the great handle in steady, even rotations, feeling the gears catch and hold. Trimming the lamp's wick was an art of precision, achieving just the right height for a clean, bright flame. In the city, I had always struggled to sleep. My mind would race, cataloging worries, rehearsing conversations, planning tomorrows that never quite arrived as imagined. But here, with the light burning steadily above me and the sea breathing against the rocks below, I slept like a child. Deeply, peacefully, completely. The seasons turned. Autumn gave way to winter, and the storms came. Great walls of gray water that crashed against the rocks with a force that shook the cottage windows. On those nights, the lighthouse felt less like a structure and more like a promise. Steady, unwavering, keeping faith with sailors I would never meet, guiding them safely past the dangerous shoals. I would stand in the lantern room during those storms, watching the beam cut through the rain and spray, and feel a profound sense of purpose. This simple thing, keeping the light burning, mattered. It was enough. Winter softened into spring, and the garden began to wake. The roses that had seemed so unlikely bloomed in profusion, filling the air with their delicate perfume. Seals appeared on the rocks during low tide, their dark eyes watching me with what seemed like friendly curiosity. Once, a pod of dolphins passed close to shore, their sleek bodies arcing through the water like threads of silver being pulled through silk. I began to paint. This surprised me. I had never painted before, had never considered myself artistic. But something about the quality of light here, the way it transformed the ordinary into something luminous, made me want to capture it. My attempts were clumsy at first, awkward compositions, muddy colors. But I persisted, and gradually, almost despite myself, I improved. I painted the lighthouse at different times of day. The way morning light turned it golden, the way evening light made it glow like a pearl, the way storm light rendered it stark and dramatic against rolling clouds. I painted the sea in all its variations, calm and mirror smooth, choppy and energetic, wild and magnificent in its fury. I painted the small things too, a perfect shell, a weathered piece of driftwood, the roses climbing the cottage wall. Each painting was a kind of meditation, a way of paying attention so complete that the rest of the world fell away. When I painted, there was only the brush, the canvas, the colors mixing and flowing, the subject revealing itself stroke by stroke. Summer arrived with long, golden days that stretched luxuriously from dawn until late evening. I took to having my breakfast on the rocks, watching the sun rise over the water, turning it from gray to silver to brilliant, dancing gold. I took to having my dinner there, too, as the sun set, painting the sky in shades no paint could ever truly capture. Coral and rose and lavender and amber. The lightkeeper's log became a kind of journal. Regulations required only basic entries, weather conditions, ships sighted, maintenance performed. But I found myself adding more. Small observations, moments of beauty, quiet gratitudes. June 3rd. Clear skies, light winds from the southwest. At sunset, the water turned the color of hammered copper. 3 fishing boats passed safely to the south. The roses are at their peak. I have never been happier. It was true. I hadn't. All my life I had been searching for something without knowing what it was. Achievement, perhaps. Recognition. Some external validation that I mattered, that my existence had weight and meaning. But here, in this simple place, tending this simple light, I had found something better. Peace. The deep, abiding peace that comes from knowing your place in the world and being content with it. One evening in late summer, as I climbed the stairs to light the lamp, I paused at the lantern room window. The sun was setting as it did every evening, but tonight felt different. Special. The sky was putting on a performance, layers of color so rich and complex they seemed almost unreal. I stood watching, the unlit lamp patient behind me, and felt a wave of emotion so powerful it brought tears to my eyes. Gratitude. Pure, uncomplicated gratitude for this life, this place, this moment. I had spent so many years rushing, striving, reaching for more. And here, finally, I had discovered that enough was not just acceptable. It was beautiful. It was everything. I lit the lamp with particular care that night, adjusting it until the flame burned perfect and true. As the lens began its slow rotation, sending the beam out across the darkening water, I felt complete. That night, I slept more deeply than ever before. I dreamed of light. Not the lighthouse's light, but a different kind, warm and golden and infinitely gentle. In my dream, Thomas Wardley was there, and the keepers before him, and keepers I had never met, stretching back through the years. We stood together in a place that felt like the lantern room, but also like somewhere else, somewhere beyond, all of us watching our lights burn steady. "Well done," Thomas said, and smiled. When I woke, dawn was breaking, painting my bedroom ceiling in shades of pearl and rose. I felt rested, completely, utterly rested. I rose and made my tea, carried it out to the cottage step as always. The morning was impossibly beautiful, the air clear and sweet, the sea calm, the light perfect. I sat sipping my tea, watching the seabirds, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face, and thought, yes, this is exactly right. The lighthouse stood beside me, its lamp extinguished now but still watchful, still present. Tonight I would climb the stairs again and light it. Tomorrow I would do the same, and the day after that. Each day the same simple rhythm. Each day the same quiet purpose. Each day enough, more than enough, everything. I closed my eyes, feeling the sun's warmth, listening to the gentle music of the sea, and smiled. The light would shine again tonight, as it always did. And I would be there to tend it, as I always was. Steady, reliable, at peace. Home.